Hezekiah purifies the temple. Hezekiah was 25 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 29 years. His mother's name was Abijah, daughter of Zechariah. He did what was right in the eyes of the Lord, just as his father David had done. In first month of the first years of his reign, he opened the doors of the temple of the Lord and repaired them. He brought in the priests and the Levites, assembled them in the square on the east side, and said, "Listen to me, Levites. Consecrate yourselves now and consecrate the temple of the Lord, the God of your ancestors. Remove all defilements from the sanctuary." Our parents were unfaithful. They did evil in the eyes of the Lord, our God, and forsook him. They turned their face away from the Lord's dwelling place and turned their back on him. They also shut the door of the portico and put out the lamps. They did not burn incense or present any burnt offerings at the sanctuary to the God of Israel. Therefore the anger of the Lord has fallen on Judah and Jerusalem. He has made them an object of dread and honor and scorn. As you can see with your own eyes, this is why our fathers have fallen by the sword, and why our sons and daughters and our wives are in captivity. Now I intend to make a covenant with the Lord, the God of Israel, so that his fierce anger will turn away from us. My sons, do not be negligent now, but now has chosen you to stand before him and serve him, to minister before him and to burn incense. Then these Levites set to work from the Kohathites, Mahas, son of Mahashai, and Joel, son of Azariah, from the Merarites, Kishi, son of Abdi, and Azariah, son of Jehalelel, from the Gershonites, Joash, son of Jimna, and Eden, son of Joah, from the descendant of Elizaphan, Shimni, and Jeriel, from the descendants of Aspa, Zechariah and Mattaniah, from the descendants of Heman, Jehiel and Shimei, from the descendants of Jedutun, Shemaiah and Uziel. When they had assembled their fellow Levites and consecrated themselves, they went in to purify the temple of the Lord, as the king ordered, following the word of the Lord. The priests went into the sanctuary of the Lord to purify it. They brought out to the courtyard of the Lord's temple everything unclean that they found in the temple of the Lord. The Levites took it and carried it out to the Kidron Valley. They began the consecration on the first day on the first month, and by the 8th day of the month they reached to the portico of the Lord. For 8 more days They consecrated the temple of the Lord itself, finishing on the 16th day of the first month. Then they went into King Hezekiah and reported, "He have purified the entire temple of the Lord. The altar burnt offering with all its utensils, and the table for setting out the consecrated bread, with all its articles we have prepared and consecrated all the articles that King Ahaz removed in his unfaithfulness while he was king. They are now in front of the Lord's altar." Early the next morning, King Hezekiah gathered the city officials together and went up to the temple of the Lord. They brought 7 bulls, 7 rams, 7 male rams, and 7 male goats as a sin offering for the kingdom, for the sanctuary, and for Judah. The king commanded the priests, the descendants of Aaron, to offer these on the altar of the Lord. So they slaughtered the bulls, and the priest took the blood and splashed it against the altar. Next, they slaughtered the rams and splashed their blood against the altar. Then they slaughtered the rams and splashed their blood against the altar. The goats for the sin offering were brought before the king and the assembly, and they laid their hands on them. The priests then slaughtered the goats and presented their blood on the altar of the sin offering to atone for all Israel. Because the Lord, the king, had ordered the burnt offering and the sin offering for all Israel. He stationed the Levites in the temple of the Lord with cymbals, harp, and lyres, and in the way prescribed by David and Gad the king, seer, and Nathan the prophet. These words commanded by the Lord through his prophet. So the Levites stood ready with David's instruments, and he priests with their trumpets. Hezekiah gave the others sacrificed the burnt offering on the altar. As the offering began, singing to the Lord began also, accompanied by trumpet and the instruments of David, king of Israel. The whole assembly bowed in worship, while the musicians played and the trumpets sounded. All this continued until the sacrifice of the burnt offering was completed. When the offerings were finished, the king and anyone present with him knelt down and worshipped. King Hezekiah and his officials ordered the Levites to praise the Lord with the word of David and of Asaph the seer. So they sang praise with gladness and bowed down and worshipped. Then Hezekiah say, "You have now dedicated yourself to the Lord. Come and bring sacrifice and thank offerings to the temple of the Lord." So the assembly brought sacrifice and thank offerings, and all whose hearts were willing brought burnt offerings. The number of the burnt offerings the assembly brought the 17 bulls, 100 rams, and 200 male rams, all of them for burnt offering to the Lord. The animals consecrated as sacrifice amount to 600 bulls and 3,000 sheep and goats. The priests, however, were too few to skin all the burnt offerings. So their relatives, the Levites, helped them until the task was finished and the other priests had been consecrated. But the Levites had been more conscientious, consecrating themselves than the priests had been. Their were burnt offering is abundance, together with the fat of the fellowship offering and the drink offering that accompanied the burnt offerings. So the service of the temple of the Lord was re-established. Hezekiah and all the people rejoiced at what God had brought about for his people, because it was done so quickly. Hezekiah celebrates the festival. Hezekiah sent word to all Israel and Judah, and so wrote letters to Ephraim and Manasseh. Inviting them to come to the temple of the Lord in Jerusalem and celebrate the festival to the Lord, the God of Israel. The king and his officials and the whole assembly in Jerusalem decided to celebrate the festival in the second month. They had not been able to celebrate it at the regular time because not even priests had consecrated themselves, and the people had not assembled in Jerusalem. The plan seemed right both to the king and to the whole assembly. They dedicated to temple proclamation throughout Israel. O Beersheba to Dan, calling the people to come to Jerusalem and celebrate the festival to the Lord, the God of Israel. It had been celebrated in large numbers according to what was written. At the king's command, couriers went throughout Israel and Judah with letters from the king and from his officials which read, People of Israel, return to the Lord, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, that he may return to you, you are left, who have escaped from the hand of the kings of Assyria. Do not be like your parents and your fellow Israelites. Do not be people of Israel, return to the Lord, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, that he may return to you who are left, who have escaped from the hands of the king of Assyria. Do not be like your parents and your fellow Israelites, who were unfaithful to the Lord, the God of their ancestors, so that he made them an object of honor. As you see, do not be stiff-necked, as your ancestors were. Submit to the Lord, to come to his sanctuary, which he has consecrated forever. Serve the Lord your God, so that his fierce anger will turn away from you. If you return to the Lord, then your fellow Israelites and your children will be shown compassion by the captors, and will return to this land. For the Lord your God is gracious and compassionate. He will not turn his face from you if you return to him. The couriers went from town to town in Ephraim and Manasseh, as far as Zebulun, but people scorned and ridiculed them. Nevertheless, some from Asher, Manasseh, and Zebulun humbled themselves and went to Jerusalem. Also in Judah, the hand of God was on the people to give them unity of mind to carry out what the king and his officials had ordered, following the word of the Lord. A very large crowd of people assembled in Jerusalem to celebrate the festival of unleavened bread and cleared away the incense altar and threw them into the Kidron Valley. They slaughtered the Passover rams on the 14th day of the second month. The priests and the Levites were ashamed and consecrated themselves and brought burnt offerings to the temple of the Lord. Then they took up their regular positions as prescribed in the law of Moses, the man of God. The priests splashed against the altar the blood handed to them by the Levites. Since many in the crowd had not consecrated themselves, the Levites had to kill the Passover rams for all those who were not ceremonially clean and could not consecrate their rams to the Lord. Although most of the many people who came from Ephraim, Manasseh, Issachar, and Zebulun had not purified themselves, yet they ate the Passover contrarily to what was written. But Hezekiah prayed for them, saying, May the Lord, who is God, Father everyone who set their hearts on seeking God, the Lord, the God of their ancestors, even if they are not clean according to the rule of the sanctuary. And the Lord heard Hezekiah and healed the people. The Israelites who were present in Jerusalem celebrated the festival of unleavened bread for 7 days with great rejoicing, while the Levites and priests praised the Lord every day with resounding instruments dedicated to the Lord. Hezekiah spoke encouragingly to all the Levites who showed good understanding of the service of the Lord. For the 7 days they ate their assigned portion and offered worship offerings and praised the Lord and the God of their ancestors. The whole assembly then agreed to celebrate the festival 7 more days. So for another 7 days they celebrated fully joyful. Hezekiah, king of Judah, provided 1,000 bulls and 7,000 sheep and goats for the assembly. And the officials provided them with 1,000 bulls and 10,000 sheep and goats. A great number of priests consecrated themselves. The entire assembly of Judah rejoiced, along with the priests and Levites and all who had assembled for Israel, including the foreigners who had come from Israel, and also those who resided in Judah. There was great joy in Jerusalem. But since the day of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel, there had been nothing like this in Jerusalem. The priests and the Levites stood to bless the people, and God heard them, for their prayers reached heaven, His holy dwelling place. When all this had ended, the Israelites who were there went out to the town of Judah, smashed the sacred stone, and cut down the Asherah poles. They destroyed the high place and the altars throughout Judah and Benjamin and in Ephraim and Manasseh. After they had destroyed all of them, the Israelites returned to their own towns and to their own property. Contribution for worship. Hezekiah assigned the priests and Levites to divisions, each of them according to their duties as priests or Levites, to want offerings and fellowship offerings, to minister, to give thanks, and to sing places at the gates of the Lord's dwelling. The king contributed from his own possessions for the morning and evening burnt offerings, and for the burnt offerings on the Sabbath, at the new moons, and at the appointed festival, as written in the law of the Lord. He ordered the people living in Jerusalem to give the portion due the priests and Levites, so they could devote themselves to the Lord. As soon as the order went out, the Israelites generously gave the first fruits of their grain, new wine, olive oil, and honey, and all that the field produced. They brought a great amount, a tenth of everything. The people of Israel and Judah who lived in the towns of Judah also brought a tenth of their herds and flocks, and a tenth of the holy things dedicated to the Lord their God. And they filled them in her heaps. They began doing it in the third month and finished in the seventh month, when Hezekiah and his officials came and saw the heaps. They praised the Lord and blessed his people Israel. Hezekiah asked the priests and Levites about the heaps, and Azariah, the chief priest from the family of Zadok, answered, "Since the people began to bring their contribution to the temple of the Lord, we have had to eat and plenty to spare, because the Lord has blessed his people, and this great amount is left over." Hezekiah gave orders to prepare storerooms in the temple of the Lord, and this was done. Then they faithfully brought in the contribution fees and dedicated gifts. Konaniah or Levites was the overseer in charge of these things, and his brother Shimei was next in rank. Jehiel, Azariah, Nathan, Asahel, Jeremoth, Jozabad, Eliel, Ismachiah, Maachas, and Benaiah were assistants of Konaniah, and Shimei, his brother, were disturbed by appointments of King Hezekiah, and Azariah, the official in charge of the temple of God. Kol, son of Imnah the Levite, keeper of the east gate, was in charge of the offerings given to God, distributing the contributions made to the Lord, and also the consecrated gift. Eden, Miniamin, Jeshua, Shemaiah, Amariah, the Hezekiah assisted him faithfully in the towns of the priests, distributing to their fellow priests according to their divisions, old and young alike. In addition, they distribute to the males 3 years old or more, whose names were in genealogical records, or who would enter the temple of the Lord to perform the daily duties of their various tasks according to their responsibilities and their divisions, and they distributed to the priests enrolled by their families in the genealogical record, and likewise to the Levites 20 years old more, according to their responsibilities and their divisions. They included all the little ones and wives, and the sons and daughters of the whole community listed in this genealogical record. For they were faithful in consecrating themselves. As for the priests, the descendants of Aaron, who lived in the farmlands around their towns or in any other towns, men were designated by name to distribute portion to every male among them and to all who were recorded in the genealogies of the Levites. This is what Hezekiah did throughout Judah, doing what was good and right and faithful before the Lord his God in everything that he undertook in the service of God's temple, and in obedience to the law and the commands, sought his God and worked wholeheartedly, and so he prospered. Sennacherib threatens Jerusalem. After all the Hezekiah had so faithfully done, Sennacherib, king of Assyria, came and invaded Judah. He laid siege to the fortified cities, thinking to conquer them for himself. When Hezekiah saw that Sennacherib had come and that he intended to wage war against Jerusalem, he consulted with his officials and military staff about blocking of the water from the springs outside the city, and they helped him. They gathered a large group of people who blocked all the springs and the stream that flowed through the land. Why should the king of Assyria come and find plenty of water? They said he worked hard repairing all the broken sections of the walls and building towers on it. He built another wall outside the one and reinforced the terraces of the city of David. He also made large numbers of weapons and shields. He appointed military officers over the people and assembled them before him in the square at the city gate and encouraged them with these words, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged because of the king of Assyria and the vast army with him. For this is greater power with us than with him. With him is only the arm of flesh, but with us is the Lord our God to help us and to fight our battles." And the people gained confidence from what Hezekiah the king of Judah said. Later, when Sennacherib, king of Assyria, and all his forces were laying siege to Lachish, he sent his officers to Jerusalem with this message: "For Hezekiah king of Judah and for all the people of Judah who were there. This is what Sennacherib king of Assyria says: On what are you basing your confidence that you remain in Jerusalem under siege? When Hezekiah says, 'The Lord our God will save us from the hands of king of Assyria,' he is misleading you to let you die of hunger and thirst. Did not Hezekiah himself remove these gods, high places, and altars, saying to Judah and Jerusalem, 'You must worship before one altar and burn sacrifice on it'? Do you not know what I and my predecessors have done to all the people of the other lands? Were the gods of those nations ever able to deliver their land from my hand? Who of all the gods of these nations, what then my predecessors destroyed, has been able to save his people from me? How then can your God deliver you from my hand? Now, do not let Hezekiah deceive you and mislead you like this. Do not believe him, for no God of any nation or kingdom has been able to deliver his people from my hands or the hands of my predecessor. How much less will your God deliver you from my hand?" Sennacherib's officers spoke further against the Lord God and against his servant Hezekiah. The king also wrote letters ridiculing the Lord, the God of Israel, and saying this against him: "Just as the God of the people of the other lands did not rescue their people from my hands, so the God of Hezekiah will not rescue his people from my hands." Then they called out Hebrew to the people of Jerusalem who were on the road to terrify them and make them afraid in order to capture the city. They spoke about the God of Jerusalem as they did about the gods of the other peoples of the world, the work of human hands. King Hezekiah and the prophet Isaiah, son of Amos, cried out in prayer to heaven about this. And the Lord sent an angel who annihilated all the fighting men and the commanders and officers in the camp of the Assyrian king. So he withdrew to his own land in disgrace. And when he went into the temple of his God, some of his sons, his own flesh and blood, cut him down with the sword. So the Lord saved Hezekiah and the people of Jerusalem from the hands of Sennacherib, king of Assyria, and from the hands of all others. He took care of them. On every side, many brought offerings to Jerusalem for the Lord, and valuable gifts for Hezekiah, king of Judah. From them on, he was highly regarded by all the nations. Hezekiah's pride succeeded and death. In those days, Hezekiah became ill and was at the point of death. He prayed to the Lord, who answered him and gave him a miraculous sign. But Hezekiah's heart was proud, and he did not respond to the kindness shown him. Therefore the Lord's wrath was on him and on Judah and Jerusalem. Then Hezekiah repented of the pride of his heart, as did the people of Jerusalem. Therefore the Lord's wrath did not come on them during the days of Hezekiah. Hezekiah had very great wealth and honor, and he made treasuries for his silver and gold, and for his precious stones, spices, seeds, and all kinds of valuables. He also made building to store the harvest of grain, new wine, and olive oil, and he made a store for various kinds of cattle, and fend for the flocks. He built villages and acquired great numbers of flocks and herds, for God had given him very great riches. It was Hezekiah who blocked the upper outlet of the Gihon spring and channeled the water down to the west side of the city of David. He succeeded in everything he undertook. But when envoys were sent by the rulers of Babylon to ask him about the miraculous sign that had occurred in the land, God left him to test him and to know everything that was in his heart. The other events of Hezekiah's reign and his acts of devotion are written in the vision of the prophet Isaiah, son of Amoz, in the book of the kings Judah and Israel. Hezekiah rested with his ancestors and was buried on the hill where the tombs of David's descendants are. All Judah and the people of Jerusalem honored him when he died, and Manasseh his son succeeded him as king. Manasseh king of Judah. Manasseh was 12 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 55 years. He did evil in the eyes of the Lord, following the detestable practices of the nation the Lord had driven out before the Israelites. He rebuilt the high priest place his father Hezekiah had demolished. He also erected altars to the Baals and made Asherah poles. He bowed down to all the starry hosts and worshipped them. He built altars in the temple of the Lord, of which the Lord had said, "My name will remain in Jerusalem forever." In both courts of the temple of the Lord, he built altars to all starry hosts. He sacrificed his children in the fire in the valley of the Ben Hinnom. Practiced divinations and witchcraft, sought omen, and consulted mediums and spiritists. He did much evil in the eyes of the Lord, arousing his anger. He took the image he had made and put it in God's temple, on which God had said to David and to his son Solomon, "In this temple and in Jerusalem, which I have chosen out of the tribe of Israel, I will put my name forever. I will not again make the feet of the Israelites leave the land I assigned to your ancestors. If only they will be careful to do everything I commanded them concerning all the laws, decrees, and regulations given through Moses." But Manasseh led Judah and the people of Jerusalem astray, so that they did more evil the nations the Lord had destroyed before the Israelites. The Lord spoke to Manasseh and his people, but they paid no attention, so the Lord brought against him the army commanders of king of Assyria, who took Manasseh prisoner, put a hook in his nose, bound him with bronze shackles, and took him to Babylon. In his distress, so he sought the favor of the Lord his God and humbled him separately before the God of his ancestors. And when he prayed to him, the Lord was moved by his entreaty and listened to his plea. So he brought him back to Jerusalem and to his kingdom. Then Manasseh knew that the Lord is God. Afterward, he rebuilt the other walls of the city of David, west the Gihon spring in the valley as far as the entrance of the place gate, and recircling the hill of Ophel. He also made it much higher. He stationed military commanders in all the fortified cities in Judah. He got rid of the foreign gods and removed the image for the temple of the Lord, where all the altar he had built on the temple bill and in Jerusalem. And he threw them out of the city. Then he restored the altar of the Lord and sacrificed fellowship offerings and thank offerings on it. They told Judah to serve the Lord, the God of Israel. The people, however, continued to sacrifice at the high place, but only to the Lord their God. The other events, Manasseh's reign, including his prayer to his God and the word the seer spoke to him in the name of the Lord, the God of Israel, are written in the annual of the kings of Israel, his prayers and how God was moved in his entreaty, as well as where all his sins are and unfaithful, and the sites where he rebuilt high place and set up Asherah for and idols before he humbled himself. All these are written in the record of the seers. Manasseh rested with his ancestors and was buried in his place, and Amon his son succeeded him as king. Amon, king of Judah. Amon was 22 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 2 years. He did evil in the eyes of the Lord, as his father Manasseh had done. Amon worshipped and offered sacrifices to all the idols Manasseh had made. But unlike his father Manasseh, he did not humble himself before the Lord. Amon increased his guilt. Amon's officials conspired against him and assassinated him in his palace. Then the people of the land killed all who had plotted against King Amon, and they made Joash his son king in his place.